Welcome everybody to the Smart Guy podcast. I'm your host, CJ the Smart Guy, and today I have two young ladies who have been doing magnificent things in Nairobi, Kenya. We have Miss Viola. She's the founder of Satoshi 53 Bitcoin Leadership Education. She graduated from another educational group called the Core, the sixth cohort, and since she began building at Satoshi 53, she successfully graduated her first cohort at Bitcoin Leadership during the Bitcoin Unconference, the second one. She's also building a program underneath Satoshi 53 called Sats for Art, which basically is creating a space for artists in the Bitcoin network where they can understand Bitcoin and earn Sats for their work. We also have Miss Judy, who's a Bitcoiner. She works with the Sats for Art as an admin and project manager, where she keeps things organized, supports marketing efforts, and makes sure everything runs smoothly. She moderates panels, community sessions, and creating space for engaging conversations around Bitcoin and art. So I appreciate you guys for coming on. Again, I love everything about what's going on out there in Nairobi, Kenya, in terms of the Bitcoin space. So I know both of you graduated from the core. I don't know who wants to start, but could we describe how was the experience learning from the core?
I could start. Well, I joined the core when it was at the second cohort. So I graduated from the core with my second and during the second cohort. How I got to know about Bitcoin was I was just viewing statuses, WhatsApp status from my friends and everything, and then I met this guy who we used to study in campus together. His name is Chris. Actually, he does tech for the core. So he used to post about Bitcoin all the time, and I'm like, "What is this?" And then he's like, "Do you want to know about Bitcoin?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." So then he just sent me the link, and then I enrolled into the class, and then I got to learn about Bitcoin, and then I was like, "Whoa!" I thought I knew about finance and everything about it, but then when I got to know about Bitcoin, I was like, this is a whole new thing. This is a whole genius idea, and I just want to be here. I just want to be here. I just want to learn more. And ever since, I've been learning every single day as a Bitcoiner, and the core provided such good education. I got to understand every single step, every single dynamic. Well, I don't really get the deep technical stuff about Bitcoin, but the general stuff, oh, I'm perfect about it. I'm so thankful to the core for giving me that opportunity.
Nice. Yeah, I know the Bitcoin rabbit hole is long. You'll be learning for
Yeah,
years and years and years, and it's never
yeah,
going to stop.
yeah.
So welcome. How about you, Miss Viola?
So I graduated from, no, I went through the core this year, cohort six, but I got introduced to Bitcoin through Bitcoin Data. I took my friend to a graduation. She was graduating from cohort six, I guess. And I was not understanding anything that was going on. It was just all new to me, blockchain, proof of work. I was just like, what is all these things that's going on? But I really loved the energy. It was just a lot of women together who was so in love with Bitcoin and was so in love with life. It was just like, there's something about this thing and I need to learn it. At that time, at that specific day, I was just like, I'm probably not going to learn this thing because everything I had heard about Bitcoin was just, you know, like just maybe a few words about it, and then it wasn't very good stuff. Then after that, I joined the next cohort, but I didn't get to finish, and then I lost the Bitcoin spark. Then in after I finished, I was in campus. Then after I finished campus, I was just like, oh, there was Bitcoin, and then I found Felix, and that's how I got to join the core. After just joining the core, the whole spark came back, and I'm loving the learning experience.
Awesome. So could you describe Bitcoin data? What is that, and how did that shape the culture? Because it sounded like you got into Bitcoin for the community. What was the community over there at Bitcoin data?
Bitcoin Data community.
Yeah. So you had mentioned that that seeing all the different women was inspiring and things like that. So could you describe like the Bitcoin data culture?
Oh, Bitcoin Data is such a good community. It's just
Yeah.
women and Bitcoin. Um, I wasn't involved much with them, but I'm currently going on with the cohort that's happening right now. Um, like the community is just women, and it has expanded in such a good speed. I think we have so many women who have learned Bitcoin from that program. And also because we don't have so many women in the Bitcoin space, also because every time I talk to women about Bitcoin, they just don't even want to some they're just not interested to learn because it sounds like a guy's thing. I don't know, maybe that's, but most women are just not very interested. But with Bitcoin Data specifically, because it's Bitcoin Data, um, it's just a really good community.
Awesome. Nice,
And
nice.
the sisterhood is like the
Mm.
most important part.
Community. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's important.
Yeah, I agree. I'm also doing the current cohort for Bitcoin Data. And yesterday I got to attend a wallet workshop where they were teaching about self-custody and custodial wallets and everything to do with wallets. And I could say that everybody who was tutoring then, even the host, every single woman who spoke, they are either they're mostly an alumni of Bitcoin Data. So you get to see how the sisterhood and the womanhood gets to build a person to become someone who can teach others about Bitcoin, someone who can explain to you what a wallet is and you have no idea what Bitcoin is, and then you get to understand it fully. So I could say the community is top tier. It's top tier, top tier. Yeah, yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah, no, it's lovely seeing women get into the space. Because like
Hmm.
Ms. Viola had said, like years ago, like I would go to the Bitcoin conferences in America, and it would be like 80% men and like 40% women. But when I went to the African Bitcoin conference in Nairobi, that it was a little different. It was maybe like 55% men and 45% women.
Yeah,
So I see the bridge is definitely um, being addressed. So that's fantastic. Shout out to Bitcoin Data. Um,
yeah.
Now Satoshi 53. Talk to me. What is Satoshi 53? What inspired that? And what's your goals now and going in the future?
Okay, so before Bitcoin, I went through a leadership program, and at that point, I was really inspired. I was like, leadership is something that um really really needs to be nurtured. So my first thing was education and leadership before Bitcoin, and then after Bitcoin, I was just like, what? There's such a good thing, and marrying it with leadership was really something. And so starting it was okay. There is the 5-3 part that I think it's really important to talk about. So the 5-3 is a philosophy that I crafted when I was doing my um for their project. It's called Made of Time. There is the 5 human energies and 3 periods of time. So the 5 human energies are like the energies that human beings are able to control with their time. There's so many things that we cannot control with our time or with our influence, but then there's 5 of them. So like the first one is the cognitive energy, like the things you learn, how you process them, and just your focus. That is basically where time plays to energy. Then there's emotional energy, then which is basically how we get to communicate with the systems around us by ourselves. Then we have the physical energy, that is nature playing part. Um, all the things, nature, all the physical things. And also with the arts, which is, like what human beings have crafted out of nature. That is the third. The fourth is social energy. And finally, financial energy. So with the financial energy, growing up, I haven't thought of money much. And I was learning much when I was reading through to develop that philosophy even better. And that's when I got like that Bitcoin moment. And that's when everything else changed and I got inspired to start Satoshi by 3. So, the 3 is basically the 3 periods of time: the past, the present, and the future. So, most of the times we tend to focus much on the future or the past and we forget the present. But also, so many people talk about focusing on the present and ignoring the past, which you are made of your past. Like, if we never met at any point, I wouldn't be here. And the future is much of, well, we can calculate, we can work towards the future, but there's so many things that happen that we really can't control the future much. We can work towards it, but we can't really control what's happening in the future. And that is the whole idea of 5-3. So with the first cohort we had at Satoshi 5-3, it was basically marrying Bitcoin principles and life principles and what life is like. So for example, the scarcity of Bitcoin is scarcity of time. We just have limited time. Like, everybody has 24 hours, and it really, like, Bitcoin is so natural for a natural human being, and we were just marrying the principles of Bitcoin and human life. That is basically what we did for the Bitcoin leadership. And now the biggest principle that we're looking at is decentralization of leadership, being like every single person should be their own leader. And that way we have a community that's so easy. For example, in our country right now, we have problems with the leadership system. Okay, we are all blaming. We're just blaming everyone on they should do this, but it will be so much simpler if we'd look inward and be like, what can I do as a person? So that was basically the idea. It was so simple. And we're doing the next after Sats for Art, after this first Sats for Art program.
Nice. That's lovely. I'm glad that you saw something and you went out there and tried to make a change. That's very important. A lot of people, like you said, they just look at problems and they talk about problems. They bring it to everybody else's attention, but they don't actually go out there and do anything. So I want to applaud you for creating that. Satoshi 5-3, I had no idea about the background, the 5 energies, the 3 sources of time. So thank you for providing that background. And then Miss Judy, how did you get involved with Satoshi 5-3?
The first time I met Viola was during her graduation, and then like a week later, I see she formed like Satoshi 5-3. I'm like, you know what? When I grow up, I want to be like you because because you're so focused and you put your mind into it, and then I got to see what she was doing and how it was impacting people, because I used to tell her, I don't see myself as a leader. I see myself as a follower. And then she'll tell me, no, you're a leader. And then she just started delegating me with responsibilities, especially with the Sats for Art. She has given me responsibilities. And then I came to realize, actually, I am a leader. And with Bitcoin, I can lead anything that I want to do. So that's how I actually got into Stats for Art. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Women empowerment, working with each other, teaching each other. I'm part of a group called NABA. It's called National Association of Black Accountants. And what they always say is to lift as you climb. So as you're climbing, you're learning, on your own, you're also lifting somebody else that's trying to come up. And I think that you guys are definitely doing that, whether it's from the core, whether it's from Satoshi 5-3, whether it's Sats for Art. That's awesome. And so Sats for Art, what are the things that you guys are preaching over there? Are you guys, discussing the fundamentals of money, accepting the money, accepting Bitcoin, creating ordinals, NFTs? Like what are you guys going over when it comes down to the artists and how they can utilize Bitcoin?
So originally, Bitcoin art, because I think basically like art is the language of human beings, and having more art will be so much easier to have more people understanding Bitcoin and the principles of Bitcoin. So that was where it all started, having more art. And then there's also the part where artists are earning uh, sats. And another important part is pricing their art in stats, that their efforts grow with them. Like you price your piece in stats and then your value just keeps growing with you. That is basically the inspiration. So currently we are doing the onboarding sessions, and the creation process has started. We are doing a theme called links of signal. It's basically focusing on signal and ignoring all the noise, because currently in the world we're living right now, there's so much noise going on. There's too many clocks running. There's just too much happening. And especially as young people, we are losing, it's so easy for us to lose focus on what's important. So that is the kind of art, like focus on the important stuff, which is a big principle of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I agree. And how about you, Miss Judy? How did you get involved with Sats for Art? I know that you learned from Viola, or you met at the cohort. But then, what was it that separated this from something else that you wanted to? You were like, I'm going to teach the artists. I'm going to make sure that that the artists are learning about this.
With Sats for Art, what we do is we teach artists about Bitcoin, and then they get to understand what actually Bitcoin is, what decentralization is in Bitcoin, what freedom money is, and then they get to incorporate their understanding of what they understand about Bitcoin into their art. You see, that way, if, like, for example, I could take like man like Quex. He does art for Bitcoin. And like for the Bitcoiners, we value his art like it's top tier art. His music is top tier music, and the fact that he gets to timestamp his art with the blockchain. I mean, once you put your art out there, it's always gonna increase in value, like how Bitcoin increases in value. Yeah. So if the artists get to understand that, they wouldn't feel like they're just doing art and then nothing is coming out of it. But then once they understand what Bitcoin does and the progression of Bitcoin, then they're able to represent their art in the best way they know how to, and their value is actually appreciated.
Yeah. So when they create art, are they inscribing it on the Bitcoin blockchain, or are they creating Bitcoin art for US dollars?
Well, okay, the idea is really to price their art in sats. That is the most important part for us. All the other things, it's and also like just having the knowledge and just deciding what you're going to do with that. But our job really is to teach.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. No, that's fantastic. And Miss Viola, okay, so I saw your Instagram, and they call you the selfish woman. Could you please describe what that means and why you call yourself that?
So I have grown up a very kind person, like very kind, extremely kind. So most of the time I just keep pouring out to people, and I'm left with nothing most of the time. So at just some point, I just got this idea that I really need to focus on everything on myself first, so that like I just put all the input on myself, and then the rest of the things just overflows to the things I care about. Selfishness, first of all, doesn't mean that I'm selfish with stuff. I'm not like I just give every other thing. So what I'm selfish with is my focus. I have to focus on things that keep improving me, and like I just get myself into spaces that take care of me. That is what selfishness basically means.
Okay. Okay. And Miss Judy, okay, if you were to um, try to tell anybody to get in Bitcoin, especially the artists, what would you tell them? Why should they get in Bitcoin? And what makes it so valuable?
Um, what makes Bitcoin valuable is Bitcoin is made of time. We've seen that over the years, the price of Bitcoin is always increasing. And also with Bitcoin, the fact that there isn't any middleman between you and your money, it makes you kind of more responsible with what you do. It makes you more responsible and more alert and you have to like enhance more security when you're handling your money. You have to enhance more security when you're dealing with money, when you're spending with your money, because with the fiat system, your money is under the custody of somebody else. So you store your money in the bank and then they use your money, they give other people your money, and then until you ask for it back, then it doesn't really, it stays the same. It doesn't serve you, it doesn't serve nobody, it just serves them and it makes them richer. But with Bitcoin, once you're in control of your money, it teaches you to be responsible, it teaches you to like focus on the important things in life. Like Viola said, you need to be selfish with your finances. Don't be stingy, but be selfish. Just you worked hard for that money. You really worked hard to get that money. So it will be fair if you just like be selfish with it, because your money is supposed to serve you every other time. So with Bitcoin, you're able to achieve that. You're able to achieve control and responsibility, and also you're able to attain the value of your money with time.
Okay, okay. And Miss Viola, if you were talking to anybody and you know they were interested in Satoshi 5.3, what would you say to them for them to get involved?
Money that's very natural. Like before Bitcoin, I didn't know much about money. I didn't know what money was. I was always like thinking of working and getting money, and I didn't understand what money was. What's this thing I'm thinking about every other day? So when you understand Bitcoin first, you understand the value of your time. You understand the value of what is this thing that I've been thinking. What is
Yeah.
so empty? There's basically nothing inside it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and especially in, I'll just say Kenya, we don't have any financial literacy education unless somebody did a degree in finance and the related courses. The rest of us are just, you never learn about money. I'm sure there's so many older people who don't know about money, and money is something that you think about every other day. You work for money,
Yeah.
you make money every other day, and it's something that you don't do. So with Bitcoin, understanding Bitcoin, you understand money, and you just don't understand money. You understand money from a very natural point where it reflects to the nature of human beings.
Yeah, that's what I've been telling people is we spend 40 hours a week working for something, and we don't even understand what money is. We struggle, we make sacrifices, all these things for money, but yet we don't even really know what it is. And so I know when I first got into Bitcoin, really before Bitcoin, it was cryptocurrencies, and I was just like, wow, like my money is multiplying without really understanding what was going on. And then years later, I'll say in 2020, I started learning about Bitcoin, and I was like, oh, I started learning the entire financial system and everything. I was just like, this is mind blowing. Because I know a lot of people in Kenya, they think the U.S. dollar is the way to save in order to keep up with inflation. But here in America, we're like, well, it's still inflating also. And so I feel like these governments that print out money, they're robbing us of our time and our energy. If America's doing it to us and then they're doing it to you guys, it's like, it's just just robbery. And so for me, it was all about, okay, let's get into Bitcoin. And I've been on it ever since. I love what you guys are doing in Bitcoin, because since 2020 that I've been in Bitcoin, Bitcoin only, I feel like your network is your net worth. And I feel like you guys, by educating people, you're building up your net worth, but you're also building up your network, which is making their net worth go up. So I think that that's a great idea. I'm glad that you guys are doing that. I'm glad you're educating the artists. I'm glad that you guys are working as women together. So I just want to congratulate you guys on that. Yeah, Satoshi 53, Sats for Art. Yeah, if you guys have any other comments, questions, where can people reach out to you? Where can they join? Where can they donate?
For Sats for Art, it's under Satoshi 53. So you can get us on X as Satoshi 53, Bitcoin Leadership Education. And also on our bio on Satoshi 53, we have our Geyser Fund there. You can just link in and just donate so that we can keep teaching more people about Bitcoin.
Awesome. And Ms. Viola, did you have anything?
No.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming to the Smart Guy podcast. We got Miss Judy, Miss Viola, Satoshi 53, and Sats for Art. You guys have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.